My name is Faye Merritt. I'm 31. 3 weeks ago, my husband slapped me in front of 550 guests at our anniversary dinner, and 550 people laughed. My father-in-law had just toasted my replacement while I sat at the table. My mother-in-law had handed me my third Gucci apron in 3 years. My own husband was holding another woman's hand under the table. When I stood up to speak, his wedding ring split my lip. They didn't know the 2 words I was about to text my dad. They didn't know those 2 words would erase their family from Boston real estate in 72 hours. Before I take you there, if stories like this one matter to you, please like and subscribe. And in the comments, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. I read everyone. Now, let me take you back 3 weeks to the night I still believed love was enough. Let me back up further. 4 years. The first dinner I ever had at the Alden House in Brookline. I wore a gray sweater I'd owned since law school. I brought a pecan pie I'd baked that morning at 6 o'clock. I'd met Declan 8 months earlier, and I loved him the way you love someone you haven't told the whole truth to yet. Vivian opened the door. She looked at my sweater for 3 full seconds. Oh, Faye, how delightfully homespun. She did not take the pie. She handed it to the housekeeper. Raymond was in the library. Whiskey. Eyes on me before I sat down. Tell me about your people, Faye. I had practiced this. My father works in automotive. My mother passed when I was 19. Raymond smiled. Automotive. So, he's a mechanic. He started out that way, yes. A grease monkey. He turned to Declan. Son, you're marrying down. Declan laughed. It was soft. It was short, but he laughed. Vivian touched my wrist. Oh, honey, that's so sad. About your mother. Truly. The word sad got stuck somewhere between her throat and her teeth, like she'd never used it before. I excused myself to the bathroom. I stood at the sink. I looked at my face in the mirror for a long time. I decided quietly not to tell Declan who my father really was. I wasn't ashamed. I wanted to see if he would stand next to me when he thought I had nothing. That decision would cost me 3 years. It would also save me everything else. When I came back, Declan was laughing with his father about a tennis match. He did not look up. Here is what I wasn't telling him. My father's name is Arthur Merritt. He is 62. He has a permanent grease stain on his thumb knuckle that he got in 1987 changing a timing belt, and he will show it to anyone who asks. In 1985, he was a mechanic in Worcester. He made $9 an hour. He bought a failing garage for $17,000, then the lot behind it, then a strip of commercial zoning nobody wanted in 1991. 35 years later, Merritt Holdings manages $3.2 billion in real estate and private lending across the East Coast. My father still drives a '92 Ford F-150. He still wears flannel to board meetings. Bankers mistake him for the HVAC technician, and he lets them. My mother, Ellen Merritt, taught me one sentence before she died. Faye, let them underestimate you. It's the cheapest advantage you will ever get. She said it from her hospital bed. I was 19. I wrote it down. I started hiding my family the day my high school boyfriend found out and asked me to buy him a car. I got into Boston College Law on my own transcript. I paid tuition with my own scholarships. I took a job at Bergman & Rowe. Instead of going in-house at a firm, my father silently owned a stake in. My father agreed to stay out of my life on one condition. Kiddo, the day you need me, you call and I come. I was 25 when I made him that promise. I thought I might never use it. I used it 6 years later with my lip bleeding at the Four Seasons Ballroom. Declan Alden walked into a pro bono legal clinic in Dorchester on a Tuesday in March. His firm required 10 volunteer hours a year. He thought he'd stay 1. He stayed 6. Then he asked me to dinner. I said no. He asked again Thursday. I said yes on Saturday. For 11 months he was kind. He remembered I hated cilantro. He brought chicken soup when I had the flu and didn't comment on my apartment. He asked about my father exactly twice. Both times I said, he fixes cars. He lives alone. He's fine. Both times Declan nodded and let it go. I thought that meant he respected me. I think now it meant he didn't want to know. He proposed at the faux shop on Dorchester Avenue where we'd had our second date. The ring was his grandmother's. Small, real. I said yes. I called my father from the sidewalk. Dad, I'm getting married. A long pause, then. He good to you? Yes. He no? No. Another pause. You want my opinion or not? Not yet. Okay, kiddo. Call me when. Raymond insisted on a prenup 3 weeks after the engagement. His voice on the phone to Declan was loud enough for me to hear through the wall. Son, we're not letting some Worcester girl touch the company. I smiled at the ceiling. I called Gregory Finch that afternoon, my father's general counsel for 25 years, the man who reads a contract the way my father reads a brake line. Gregory, I need you to review something quietly. Gregory laughed, low and warm. "Kiddo, I've been waiting 3 years for this call." The prenup was signed in a mahogany conference room on Federal Street. Raymond sat across from me in a $3,000 suit. Gregory had given me 16 pages of notes the night before, highlighted in 3 colors. The document ran 49 pages. Raymond's lawyer walked through the Alden schedule first: commercial holdings, residential, cash positions. I listened carefully at page 47. "And the senior lending facility," Raymond's lawyer said, "1.8 billion gross, 840 million senior loan held by Merit Capital, LLC. Raymond waved a hand. "Boring part. Move on." I held my pen very still. I looked at the carpet pattern for 3 breaths. I did not look at Declan. Then I signed the separate schedule for my own assets. $118 $4,000. Condo on West Brookline Street. 401k. Honda Civic. Student loans paid off. Raymond glanced at the total. He smiled at Declan. "Son, we locked the vault." Declan smiled back. He did not read my page. I walked out of that building, drove to my apartment, and called my father from the parking garage. "Dad, kiddo, Alden Properties owes Merit Capital $840 million. Long silence. "Yeah, didn't think it mattered for you. You want me to unwind it?" "No." "You sure?" "I'm sure." "Kiddo, you are marrying into your own collateral." "I know. What do you want from me?" "Stay out until I call." He exhaled. "How long you planning to wait?" "Until I know who he really is." Gregory Finch's fingerprints were on every clause that would one day protect me. I did not know it then. I know it now. The first Christmas, Vivian wrapped my gift in silver foil. I opened it at the dinner table. 17 people watching. A Gucci apron. Cream with a stripe. "Oh, honey, for the kitchen. Aspirational." Laughter around the table. Declan laughed too. I laughed at myself because that seemed easier. I put it in my closet. The cousin's wedding, spring, year 1. Vivian seated me at the children's table. "There was a mix-up with the cards, sweetheart. The kids love you anyway." I ate chicken nuggets next to a 9-year-old who asked me if I was a grown-up. I said, "Sometimes." Raymond's 65th birthday, year 2. He toasted Declan in front of 40 people. "My son married kindness, not class. But kindness is important too." Declan kissed my cheek afterward. "He's just like that, Faye. Don't make it a thing." Year 3, second Gucci apron. Year 3, cousin's baby shower. Vivian introduced me as our Worcester girl still learning. I started a notebook, black moleskin, $14 at a papyrus on Newberry Street. Date, quote, witness. I did not know what I was building. I only knew that memory was a liability I could not afford. My best friend, Nora Callahan, sat across from me at a Thai place on Tremont. "Faye, why are you still there?" "I love him." "Faye, I know. Your love is a luxury he cannot afford." I laughed once. I stopped laughing. I went home that night. Declan was on the couch watching ESPN. I said, "I had a hard day." He said, and did not turn his head. I opened the notebook. I wrote one sentence. He did not turn his head. I closed it. Raymond called Declan into the Alden conference room on a Monday. I heard the call on speaker because Declan forgot to close the den door. "The 3-year is a PR event, full stop. 550 guests. Boston Globe, Boston Magazine. Mayor's office confirmed. You will behave like a CFO. Your wife will behave like a wife." "Declan, she always does. She wears beige. She smiles. She has no opinions about the Holloway Vances." A long pause. "Dad, is Cressida coming?" "She is seated at our table." "Dad, Declan, do you want the chair or not?" "I want the chair." "Then you behave." The call ended. Declan came into the kitchen where I was chopping carrots. He did not say I'd heard. He did not say I hadn't. He said, "Babe, I need you to smile a lot on Friday. We have a business situation." I said, "What situation?" "You won't understand the finance." I finished the carrots. I said, "Okay." That night, my phone lit with an email from Gregory Finch. "Faye, Alden Properties Q4 compliance report filed today. 3 debt covenants in breach. Continuous since month 14. Merit Capital Compliance Desk has been holding the default letter at Arthur's instruction. He asked me to tell you nothing has changed. He is waiting on your word. GF." I read it twice. I put the phone face down. Declan came out of the shower. "What's wrong?" "Work. Good. I need you solid on Friday." "I'll be solid." I went to the closet. I took out the beige dress Vivian had approved. I hung it on the back of the door. I looked at it for a long time. The Four Seasons ballroom holds 550 at round tables of 10. Marble columns, 3 chandeliers, a string quartet in the corner playing Pachelbel on a loop, like someone had paid them to stay polite. I wore the beige dress. I wore small pearl earrings, my mother's. I don't lie about that part to myself anymore. Cressida Holloway Vance was at the entrance when we arrived. She hugged Declan for 4 seconds longer than she hugged me. She hugged me for 1. Raymond introduced me to a state senator. This is my son's wife. She's local. The senator shook my hand. Which firm? Bergman and Rowe. Contract work mostly. His eyes flickered. Your name is Merritt? Yes. Did you argue the Whelan pension brief last year? Raymond's smile caught. I wrote it. The senator nodded. Masterful. Raymond pulled the senator toward the bar before he could say more. Vivian appeared. She lifted my face with 1 finger. She wiped a corner of my mouth with a napkin she'd already used. A little smudged, sweetheart. I let her. Nora texted me from her apartment. How is it? Starting to look like a setup. Faye, leave. Now. 1 more night. I need to see the whole shape. Faye. Nora. Trust me. I put the phone in my clutch. I found our table. Table 1. Raymond at the head. Vivian to his right. Declan next. Cressida next to Declan. Her parents after that. Me at the far end, between the centerpiece and a man from a commercial bank whose name I didn't catch. I took 1 breath, then another. I had survived worse dinners, I thought. The amuse-bouche arrived. Raymond tapped his glass and turned the table toward him. Declan's wife does contract work. Very earnest, small firm, something about pensions. Fascinating, really. Laughter. Small, polite. Cressida laughed longest. I smiled. I thanked him for the kind words. I ate the amuse-bouche. Vivian leaned toward Cressida's mother. She's very grounded. Worcester girl, you know. Cressida's mother said, Oh, how refreshing. Her tone made the word refreshing sound like a synonym for a kitchen sponge. Declan did not say anything. He cut his scallop into quarters. The state senator across the room lifted his glass toward me. I lifted mine back. Raymond caught it. He leaned over the floral arrangement. Friend of yours, Faye? He read my brief. Ah, the Whelan thing. Must be satisfying to be useful. It is. I'm sure the pensioners appreciate you. 58,000 of them do, yes. Raymond's fork paused over his plate. Vivian filled the silence. Faye, darling, tell everyone about your condo. It sounds so cozy. 600 square feet, 1 bedroom, South End. Cressida's mother. Oh, that's adorable. I smiled. Thank you. Declan, finally. We've been talking about upgrading. Have we? The table went still for half a second. Declan's ears went pink. I mean, when things settle. Raymond rescued him. When things settle, my son will have options he does not currently appreciate. He looked at Cressida. Cressida looked at Declan. Declan looked at his plate. I opened my clutch. I checked my phone. Arthur had texted once. You eating, kiddo? I typed slowly. He typed back. Me too. The second course came out. Vivian stood up with a small box wrapped in gold. I have a little something for our anniversary, girl. 500 faces turned. A Globe reporter lifted her phone. Vivian handed me the box. Open it, sweetheart. I opened it. Gucci apron, dark green, embroidered with a bee. A beat of silence, then laughter breaking in patches across the room. A child at a nearby table said, Mom, did she win a cooking prize? Vivian, it's her 3rd, 1 for every year. She held up 3 fingers for the Boston Magazine photographer. I folded the apron carefully. I set it on the table next to my bread plate. Thank you, Vivian. You always know what you want me to be. A few laughs, nervous now. The Globe reporter's eyebrows moved a fraction. Vivian sat down. Her smile flickered. A mother at the next table whispered to her daughter. I heard it because she whispered badly. Poor girl. 3 years of this. Her daughter whispered back. Why doesn't she leave? The mother said, They always have a reason. I looked at the apron. I looked at Declan. He was examining his water glass. Raymond filled the silence. The aprons are a running joke. Vivian has a terrific sense of humor. She has remarkable consistency, I said. Cressida laughed too loudly. You know, I cook too. It's so important. Declan said, Cress is an incredible cook. Cressida put her hand on Declan's forearm. I saw the hand. So did Vivian. Vivian did nothing. I took a sip of water. I thought of the moleskin at home. I thought, tonight I will stop writing things down. I put the glass down. Raymond pivoted the table conversation. He spoke loudly enough for the neighboring tables to enjoy. Cressida's father, Owen, runs Vanguard Partners. Real capital, real builders. That's the game now. Cressida's father nodded. Owen had a jaw like a piece of furniture. Declan and Cressida were at Choate together, Raymond went on. Class of 2011. Small world, small class. They've stayed close. Cressida laughed. Very close. She squeezed Declan's arm. Declan did not pull it away. A woman at the next table said, loud enough to count as audible, Isn't he married, though? Her husband hushed her. Vivian said brightly, Old friendships are such a blessing. Don't you think, Faye? I looked at her. I think they should stay old when people are married to other people. A small, sharp silence. Raymond chuckled. Oh, Faye's being protective. It's adorable. I did not say adorable back. I drank my water. Cressida leaned across Declan. She spoke to me for the first time that night. Faye, we're just old friends. Don't be insecure. 15 words. I counted them later. She had rehearsed it. I smiled. I'm not insecure, Cressida. I'm observant. Her smile dropped 1 millimeter. Declan said, Babe, please, just eat your fish. Babe. He had not called me babe in 4 months. He had called me Faye in every argument since February. He was performing for his father, for the Holloway Vances, for 547 other people who thought Cressida was a candidate. Raymond raised his glass. To old friends, he toasted. Cressida toasted. Vivian toasted. Declan toasted. I held my glass level. I did not lift it. Raymond turned to me with a new smile, the smile he wore when he was about to do me a courtesy. Faye, how's your father? Still tinkering? He's well, thank you. Does he still have that little garage down in Worcester? He has a workshop, yes. I keep meaning to send him a car. My Mercedes has a belt wine. Figure, keep it in the family. Laughter at the table. The bankman next to me laughed politely. Cressida's father did not laugh. I noticed that. Declan laughed. He laughed the loudest, his head tipped back. He said between breaths, Dad, stop. He'd probably charge you regular rate. More laughter. Declan, warming to it. Louder now. We tip him on Christmas. It's cute. The table laughed harder. I watched my husband for 2 full seconds. I had seen Declan laugh at many things in 3 years. I had never seen him laugh like that. Eyes bright, shoulders up, performing. The laugh of a boy at his father's feet who had finally been let inside the joke. He did not look at me while he laughed. He looked at Raymond, and Raymond looked back at him like a man handing over a set of keys. Something inside my chest went very quiet. Not broken. Quiet. The kind of quiet that happens in a courtroom when a juror has just made up her mind. I picked up my fork. I cut a piece of fish. I chewed it slowly. I thought, that's it. That's the moment. I wrote nothing down. I did not need to. I would remember that laugh for a long time. I know some of you watching right now are thinking, Faye, how did you sit there and eat the fish? 3 years ago, I would have thought the same thing. If you have ever been at a table where your own husband laughed at jokes about your family, drop a broken heart in the comments. I want to see who's with me tonight. And if you're new here, tap subscribe. Because the next 40 minutes, I couldn't have invented it. But it happened. Take a breath with me, and let's go back in. Between the fish and the lamb, 2 men in gray suits appeared at Raymond's elbow. I recognized one, Harold Greaves, Alden's outside auditor. The other I didn't know. Harold leaned down. Ray, a moment. Outside. Raymond waved him off. We're in the middle of... Ray, now. The unknown man cleared his throat. Q4 compliance. The lender. Vivian laughed brightly at no one. Business always. Go, darling. Raymond stood. He followed them to the hallway. The door swung behind them. It did not close all the way. I heard the auditor's voice through the gap. Ray, we are 14 months in breach. They are going to call it. Raymond, they haven't for 14 months. That's not reassurance. That's unusual. Who is they? The senior lender. Merit Capital. And they asked for board materials last week. Quietly. I stopped breathing for a count of 3. I looked at Declan. Declan was texting Cressida, who was 6 feet away. I watched his thumb type. I looked at the centerpiece. Orchids. White. Obscenely tall. Raymond came back. His color was off. He sat. He did not look at Vivian. Vivian did not ask. He poured himself another glass. He drank half. He said to no one and everyone, We're fine. We are absolutely fine. Vivian. Of course we are, darling. I picked up my phone under the table. I texted Arthur. Auditor just flagged the breach out loud. Arthur. How out loud? Full sentence. 2 feet from me. Kiddo, you okay? Ask me in an hour. I put the phone down. I picked up my knife. Raymond tapped his glass. Not the official toast. A preview. Men at nearby tables leaned in. Friends, while we wait for the lamb, I want to speak briefly about the future of this company. Vivian clapped twice like a small applause machine. Alden Properties is in its 43rd year. My father started it with 3 properties in Back Bay. I have grown it to over 60. Declan, my son, is the future. Polite applause. And the future of a company is never one man. The future is the alliances that man makes, the partnerships, the marriages, metaphorical and otherwise, that determine whose wisdom we carry forward. His eyes moved over Cressida, slow enough to be seen, fast enough to pretend it wasn't deliberate. I look around this room and I see opportunity. I see families whose values complement ours. I see capital that knows where to go. Cressida's father, Owen Holloway Vance, inclined his head a half-inch. To the future of the Alden name. Raymond raised, Owen raised, Vivian raised, Cressida raised, Declan raised. I did not raise. The Boston Globe reporter lifted her phone. The shutter clicked. Vivian nudged Declan. Declan nudged me. Babe, Raise your glass. No. He turned his head. Faye, please. No, Declan. His jaw tightened. You're embarrassing me. You just raised a glass to your replacement. He did not answer. Raymond, pretending he hadn't heard. Sometimes the old guard has to make room for the new, and that takes courage. Applause. Under the table, Cressida's hand found Declan's again. This time, I did not look away. I watched. I wanted to remember the geometry. The lamb arrived. Vivian took it as her cue. Oh, that reminds me. I have to tell everyone about Faye's first time on the yacht, last summer. It was precious. Heads turned. We were off Nantucket. Beautiful day, flat water. And Faye, God love her, asked if we had life vests for the children. A pause, then laughter. It rippled outward. She was so serious, and there are no children on board. It's just us. She thought we'd packed children. More laughter, real this time, because the story had shape. She comes from a simpler world, Vivian said, and her voice did the thing voices do when a woman is about to cry on cue. We've tried. We've really tried to welcome her. She dabbed one eye. She was dry. Cressida's mother reached across and squeezed her wrist. Oh, Viv, you've been an angel. Vivian accepted the squeeze. It's not been easy. The table nodded as a group. The thing I will remember about that moment is that no one asked me anything. No one asked me if the story was true. No one asked me what I had actually said. I was the subject of the anecdote and the ornament at the end of the table. I was also, I realized, the only person at table 1 who had not been handed my life. Every other person at that table, Raymond, Vivian, Declan, Cressida, Owen, Margaret, had inherited the chair they were sitting in. I had paid for mine. I picked up the lamb chop with my fork. I cut it. I chewed. I thought, one more course, one more line, then we will see. I set my fork down. I took a sip of water. I looked at each of them slowly, so I would remember. Raymond, with the wet underside of his lower lip. Vivian, with the dabbing napkin. Declan, who had not once in 36 minutes, asked me a question. Cressida, who had asked me exactly one. I asked myself quietly the only question that mattered. What would Arthur Merritt's daughter do right now? The answer came fast, faster than I expected. She would wait one more round. She would let them finish the dance they had come here to dance. She would give Raymond the rope he had already purchased, and when he tied it, she would step aside. I remembered my mother, thin in a hospital gown, oxygen in her nose. She had looked at me and said, Faye, the people who need to make you small are never small themselves. They're terrified. Do not comfort that. I had been 19. I had not understood what she meant. I understood it now. At a Four Seasons ballroom, with a Gucci apron by my bread plate and a husband who had stopped being my husband somewhere between the amuse-bouche and the fish, I took out my phone. I did not text Arthur. Not yet. I opened the Notes app. I typed 3 words. End it tonight. I closed the phone. I smiled. I lifted my fork. Nora texted again. I did not look. I thought about the prenup. I thought about Gregory Finch. I thought about the 14 months of covenant breach sitting in an envelope on a compliance desk on Summer Street. I thought, all I have to do is stand up when he asks me to sit. Declan stood. He leaned down. His breath smelled like whiskey and crab. Hallway. Now. I stood. Vivian watched. Raymond pretended not to. We walked through the kitchen doors into the service hall. Marble, white, empty except for a waiter pretending not to see us. Declan turned. His face was red. Faye, you need to smile. I need you to smile. My father is watching you. I noticed. Stop it with the tone. Just be a wife for 2 more hours. Define wife, Declan. Jesus, Faye. You've been holding Cressida's hand for 40 minutes. She's an old friend. She's a candidate. His eyes did a small tell, a flinch at the corner. I had been right. Faye, I have never touched her. I love you. I need you too. Stop. Stop what? Stop lying in the hallway in front of a waiter. The waiter became very interested in a tray. Declan reached for my wrist. He closed his hand around it. Hard. I looked down at his hand. I looked up at his face. Declan, let go. He did not let go for 3 seconds. Then he did. There was a white mark on my skin. It went pink. It would be purple by morning. Don't make me choose tonight, Faye. Declan, listen to me. You already did. He blinked. What does that mean? It means I heard your father on speaker Monday. It means I read the Q4 report. It means I watched Cressida hold your hand. Faye, go back in. Sit down. Finish your lamb. He stared at me. I walked past him. I pushed the kitchen door. I walked back to table 1 with my wrist already starting to bruise. The ladies' room at the Four Seasons is the size of my apartment. Marble basins. A small sitting area with velvet chairs. I went to the mirror. I looked at my wrist. Fingerprints. 4. Declan's. I took a photo. I did not know why yet. Evidence, probably. Or a record for myself. Or both. My phone rang. Arthur. Dad? Kiddo. You in the bathroom? How did you know? Because you're always in the bathroom when you call me from an event. I've noticed. I laughed once. It came out wet. Dad, he grabbed my wrist. Long silence. The kind Arthur does when he is picking between 3 sentences. How hard? Hard enough for fingerprints. Another silence. Kiddo, I'm 11 minutes from the Four Seasons. I've been 11 minutes from the Four Seasons since 6:00 p.m. I'm going to stay here. You tell me when. You drove up from Worcester? I drove up from Worcester at 4:00 this afternoon. Gregory is with me. He has a portfolio. There's a letter inside the portfolio. I'm not going to tell you what it says unless you ask. My hands started to shake. I pressed them flat against the counter. Why did you come up? Because I've been waiting 14 months. Because Gregory called me Monday. Because your mother told me something the week before she died, and I promised her I wouldn't miss it when it happened. What did she tell you? That you would not call me until the last minute. That I should stay close. She was right, kiddo. You are going to call. I closed my eyes. Dad, not yet. Okay, I wait. I went back to the table. The dessert plates had come out. Small glass bowls of panna cotta on saucers that cost more than my first car. Raymond was already standing. He had a fresh champagne flute. He tapped it with a silver knife. 3 clear notes. The ballroom quieted. 550 faces turned toward table 1. The string quartet went silent. The Boston Globe reporter lifted her phone into position. The Boston Magazine photographer did the same. Raymond smiled the smile he wore at shareholder meetings. Wide, even. Friends, family, dear partners old and new. Polite laughter. 3 years ago tonight, my son brought home a young woman from... He paused. Where was it, Declan? Worcester. Worcester. God bless it. Her father is a mechanic. A real salt-of-the-earth type. A few laughs, uncomfortable, spread unevenly. Under the table, Cressida slid her hand onto Declan's knee. I watched it happen. Vivian watched it happen. Vivian smiled. Raymond continued. And we at the Alden family have watched for 3 years now with love, with patience, with... He paused, milked it. Considerable hope. Cressida giggled. She did not cover it. My son is a good man. A good CFO. A good... He looked around the room. Candidate for the kind of future this family needs. Cressida's father leaned forward in his chair. I put my napkin on the table, folded, corners aligned. Old lawyerly habit. Under the table, my phone lit once. Arthur, I'm in the lobby. I did not answer. I watched Raymond raise his glass. The chandeliers caught it. 3 years ago, my son brought home a nice girl. Kind, earnest, and we had hopes. I'll say it because we're among family, that with time and care and a little exposure, she might grow into this world. A few laughs. Louder now. Permission laughs. She has tried, truly. She has worn the dresses. She has come to the dinners. She has even, bless her, attempted the yacht. Vivian let out a theatrical laugh. It was the signal. The ballroom laughed with her. And we've loved watching her try. We have, haven't we, Vivian? We have, sweetheart. But some matches take and some don't. The laughter dropped to a confused hum. Some guests leaned in, unsure where this was going. The Globe reporter's thumb hovered over record. And the truth, friends, is that a family like ours, Raymond gestured wide, a legacy like ours requires partners who match it. Stride for stride, capital for capital, pedigree for pedigree. Silence now. Real. Raymond turned. He looked straight at me. 500 faces followed his line of sight. Faye, sweetheart. I did not smile. We have loved watching you try, truly. But tonight, in front of our dearest friends and partners, I think it's time we all acknowledged what we've come to understand. He paused for the heartbeat I will remember for the rest of my life. That my son's next chapter belongs to a woman who was raised to write it. Silence. 3 full seconds. Then a lone laugh. Cressida. Then a scatter of laughs. Then applause. Thin. Raymond smiled at his son. To Declan. Declan stood. He lifted his glass. I stood. Everyone else was sitting. I was standing. Declan was halfway out of his seat with his glass raised. Raymond was mid-toast. Vivian's smile was frozen. 550 faces rotated toward me. I did not raise my voice. I spoke the way I speak in a deposition. Raymond, the ballroom went quiet. You've spoken for 3 years. Let me speak for 3 minutes. Raymond's glass lowered. His smile became a thing he was holding in place. I married your son because I loved him. I signed your prenup because I had nothing to hide. I sat at your Christmas dinners in an apron. I thought politeness was strength. The Globe reporter hit record. I saw the red dot. Tonight, in front of your partners and your press, you toasted my replacement in front of me, with my husband. I turned. Declan. He had frozen with the glass in the air. You held her hand under the table for 40 minutes. I counted. Cressida's mouth opened. Vivian, you gave me a 3rd Gucci apron this year. I have 3 closets and 3 aprons. I'd like to return them all. Vivian's hand found her pearls. I turned back to Raymond. And Raymond, you called my father a grease monkey in front of my husband 3 years running. Tonight, your son laughed, louder than he's ever laughed in our apartment. Raymond set his glass down. Faye, I am not finished. The ballroom did not breathe. You'll want to sit down now, Raymond. He did not sit down. I said evenly. I asked nicely. Declan stepped around his chair. His face had gone the wrong color. Declan walked around the table slowly, like a man who had rehearsed it in his head without knowing he was rehearsing. He stopped in front of me. He was 6 inches taller. He was drunk. 4 whiskeys. I had counted those too. Faye, sit down. No, you're embarrassing me. You did that yourself. Sit down. Declan, step back. He raised his hand. I would replay the half second before the slap 1,000 times. Declan's face was not rage. It was panic. The panic of a man who has spent his entire life performing for his father and has just discovered that his father is watching, and that his wife will not help him with the performance. He swung, open palm. His wedding ring clipped my lower lip. The sound carried, clean, like a plate dropped on marble. My head turned with the strike. I did not fall. I tasted copper. Silence for 1 full heartbeat. Then, laughter. Not everyone, not even most, but enough. Cressida laughed. Cressida's father laughed once, and then stopped. A woman at the bar laughed. A woman 2 tables over said, loud and clear, "Oh my God." I did not move. I lifted my hand to my lip. My fingers came away red. I looked at the blood. I looked at Declan. I smiled. The smile was small. It was private. It was the smile of a woman who had just been handed the one thing she had been waiting for. Declan saw it. His expression cracked. Faye, Declan. I reached for my phone. I did not shake. I did not cry. I opened my phone. I opened my messages. I opened the thread with Arthur. I typed 2 words. Dad, please. I pressed send. I set the phone down on the table. Screen up. Everyone at table 1 could see the thread. The ballroom had not recovered. 550 people were watching a woman with a cut lip stand next to a shaking husband. Some were filming. Some were pretending not to. Raymond found his voice. Faye, honey, that was a dramatic moment. I'm sure Declan is already... Raymond, stop talking. Faye, stop talking. He stopped. Vivian tried. Sweetheart, we should all just calm down and... Vivian, you're going to want to stop too. She stopped. Declan tried. Faye, please, let's go in the back and... No. I looked at my phone. 90 seconds had passed. The read receipt appeared, then typing dots, then nothing. Then, 2 tables away, Raymond mimed a mic drop to Owen Holloway Vance. Both men chuckled weakly. Raymond sat down. He refilled his glass. He raised it and said to the room, "Nothing to see, folks. Young love, let's bring the dessert carts out." Vivian waved at a waiter. More wine to table 4. The string quartet, nervous, began to play again. Something soft, something that did not fit. Declan sat down heavily next to Cressida, who had not moved. For about 40 seconds, it looked to the room like the moment might pass, like the ballroom might metabolize it, like Raymond might actually win. Then the double doors at the back of the ballroom opened. The doors are 11 feet tall. They opened both sides. Arthur Merritt walked in. He wore a navy blazer over a dark flannel shirt, work boots, jeans with a crease from Worcester. He had a small scar on his thumb knuckle from 1987 that the Boston Globe would later photograph. Behind him walked Gregory Finch in a gray suit holding a leather portfolio. Behind Gregory walked 2 junior associates from Merritt Capital carrying sealed manila envelopes. The ballroom noticed them in layers. The servers noticed first. One of them dropped a tray of spoons. It clattered. No one laughed. The bankers noticed second. 3 men at table 14 stood up at the same time, like dogs hearing a whistle. One of them whispered, "Oh no." Raymond noticed third. His face went the color of dry cement. Owen Holloway Vance noticed fourth. He turned to his wife and said audibly, "That's Arthur Merritt." His wife Margaret whispered back, "Why is Arthur Merritt at the Alden anniversary?" Owen did not answer. He was watching Arthur walk. Arthur crossed the ballroom at a mechanic's pace, unhurried, the way he walks through a garage. He stopped at table 1. He looked at me first. "Kiddo, lip." He pulled a white handkerchief from his blazer pocket. He dabbed my lip. His hand was steady. It smelled faintly of engine degreaser. It always does. "You okay?" "I am now." He folded the handkerchief. He put it back in his pocket. He turned. "Raymond." Raymond had not blinked in 20 seconds. "Arthur, what are you?" "Raymond. Been a minute since the Q2 loan review." Vivian to Cressida's mother, very quietly. "Margaret, who is he?" Margaret, louder than she meant. "Viv, he owns your loan. If this moment just gave you chills, drop the word dad in the comments. I want to see who's here with me tonight." What happens next is the part I still can't watch back without feeling my own heartbeat. It doesn't happen with lawyers running in with briefcases. It doesn't happen with shouting. It happens with one quiet sentence from my father and a single pen. The people who laughed at my family thought power is loud. My father taught me power is patient. If you're with me on that, tap subscribe. The last 20 minutes is why we are here. Arthur did not raise his voice. He has not raised his voice since 1979. Raymond. 14 months ago, Alden Properties breached Covenant 4.2 on the $840 million senior loan from Merit Capital, debt to equity. You breached it again in April and July and last month. Raymond's mouth opened. No sound came out. I gave you 14 months, Raymond, because my daughter asked me to. A gasp at table 4. A banker at table 14 sat down hard. Tonight, your son put his hands on my daughter. Twice. Declan's face went the color of milk. Twice? The wrist earlier. The face just now. Both in a Four Seasons hallway. Both in front of witnesses. Gregory Finch stepped forward. He opened the leather portfolio. He took out a single document. 3 pages, notarized. Notice of event of default and acceleration, Gregory said. His voice carried, not loud, clear. Delivered to the corporate secretary of Alden Properties via certified mail at 6:47 this evening, 63 minutes ago. A second copy is here for your personal acknowledgement. He set it on the white tablecloth, in front of Raymond's panna cotta. Raymond stared at it. Arthur, we have a cure period. We have 30 days. You have 30 days, Raymond. Use them. Declan from his chair. Dad, what loan? The ballroom heard it. Arthur turned to Declan. His voice did not change. Son, you're the CFO. I didn't. You signed the disclosure statement in March, 8 months ago. My name is on page 12. Declan made a sound that wasn't a word. You signed it, Arthur said. You did not read it. Cressida let go of Declan's hand. I turned to Declan. The whole ballroom watched. I'm filing tomorrow, 8:00 a.m., Massachusetts at-fault grounds. Cruelty, tangible injury. I have the photograph of my wrist. I have the cut on my lip. I have 500 witnesses. Declan stood halfway. Faye, please, I was drunk. You were clear. The prenup holds, Declan. Section 7, subsection B, separate property. Gregory drafted it. He represents my father. He represented me. You did not read it either. Cressida gathered her handbag. She stood up. She walked on heels that could not handle marble at speed toward the side exit. Her father, Owen, followed. He did not look at Raymond on the way out. I looked at Vivian. Her hand was still on her pearls. Vivian, the 3 aprons will be on your dining room table by tomorrow afternoon. Signed for. Vivian said. Faye, no. Raymond stood up slowly. His napkin fell to the floor. Arthur, please. Arthur, we've known each other for Monday, Raymond. 9:00 a.m. My office on Summer Street. Bring counsel. Bring your board chair. Bring a plan. Arthur, a phone call. It didn't have to be, Raymond. You made it this. Arthur turned to Gregory. We're done. Gregory closed the portfolio with a soft click that carried. Arthur offered me his arm. I took it. We walked together through 550 people who now understood they had been at the wrong dinner. The Boston Globe reporter followed us to the door. Phone up. Arthur said without looking. No comment. Ask Merit Capital's press office. The ballroom doors swung shut behind us. 48 hours later, Alden Properties held an emergency board meeting in a rented conference room in the Seaport. I wasn't there. I read the minutes 3 days later. Gregory sent them. $840 million accelerated. Cash on hand at Alden. $94 million. Liquidity ratio broken. Covenant remedies exhausted. 30-day cure period clock running. Fire sale authorized on 3 commercial assets in Fenway and the South End. Target, 60 cents on the dollar. Best case. Board motion 1. Remove Raymond Alden as CEO for failure to disclose covenant breaches to the board of directors. Vote, 7 in favor, 2 abstain. Board motion 2. Remove Declan Alden as Chief Financial Officer for fiduciary breach. Specifically, failure to disclose a material related party interest in the senior loan documentation. Vote, 9 in favor, 0 abstain. The board appointed an interim CEO from outside the family, a turnaround specialist, a woman named Helen Rask, who had done the same thing for a retail chain in Providence. Helen's first public statement was 2 sentences. Alden Properties is executing orderly asset disposition under the supervision of our senior lender. We are committed to transparent recovery for our stakeholders. The Boston Globe ran the story the next morning. Boston Magazine put my last name in the 3rd paragraph. 2 paragraphs later, it mentioned my father's. It called him self-made. It mentioned the garage. I sat in my South End condo on Sunday morning with coffee and the Globe. I read it once. I put it down. I did not save it. Nora called. Faye? I know. Faye. I said I know. You did it. My father did it. Faye. Who called him? On Monday, the Brookline Women's Club Executive Committee held a quiet vote. Vivian's name was removed from the Spring Gala Host Committee. No statement, no email, just her absence from the next newsletter. 2 of her oldest friends canceled lunch at Harvest on Tuesday. A third told her at a Starbucks on Beacon Street. Viv, the story is everywhere. I can't be seen with you right now. I'm sorry. Then she left her latte on the table. Vivian drove to my condo on Wednesday afternoon. She did not call first. She stood at the lobby intercom for 10 minutes. The doorman let her up only because I told him to. She came through my door without being invited in. She sat on my couch. She had not slept. Faye, please. I want to say I should have. I didn't. Vivian. He's my husband. He's everything Vivian, please don't destroy us. Please. I'll do anything. I'll apologize publicly. Vivian, look at me. She looked up. Mascara had failed. I forgive you on my own behalf. I do. That is the only forgiveness I have the authority to offer. I do not speak for Merit Capital. I do not speak for the Alden Board. I do not speak for the SEC. What? Gregory will explain. Call him Monday. Faye, I was going to love you. Eventually, I promise you. Vivian, I heard you. She cried. I heard her. I did not comfort her. After 20 minutes, she left. I threw out the cushion she had sat on, not out of cruelty, but out of a feeling I can only describe as cleaning. Declan came to my firm on Thursday. Lobby. He had not shaved. His blazer had a stain on the lapel. Security called up. I told them to send him to conference room B. Glass walls. Witnesses. He sat. He put his hands flat on the table. He looked at his hands. Faye. Declan. I'm losing everything. The house. The car. Dad. There's an SEC inquiry. The disclosure thing. They're calling it material misrepresentation. I know. The lawyer said I could be deposed. I could be. Faye. I know. I don't even know what I signed. I know that too. We could leave it all. Go somewhere. I'd leave him. I'd leave them. Declan, stop. He stopped. I slid a black moleskin across the table. I had rewritten the entries in blue. 12 pages. What is this? 3 years of notes. Dates. Quotes. Witnesses. Every time your father insulted my father. Every time your mother gave me an apron. Every time you laughed and did not turn your head. He opened it. He read the first page. He put his hand over his mouth. Faye. I'm not giving it to the court, Declan. I'm giving it to you, so you know I wasn't surprised. I was patient. I'm so sorry. I believe you are sorry. I also believe it took losing everything to get you there. The job, the father, the house. That is not enough for me. He was crying. I did not move. Goodbye, Declan. Faye, don't come back. Not the firm, not the condo, not the clinic, not ever. I stood. I walked out. He did not follow. By the following week, the SEC had opened a preliminary inquiry. Not a charge. Not yet. Just a subpoena for documents. The question on the record, whether Alden Properties' failure to disclose 14 months of continuous covenant breach to its public bondholders constituted material misrepresentation. Raymond's outside counsel charged $690 an hour. The retainer was $2 million. Vivian put the Brookline house on the market in the 3rd week. Ask price, $9.6 million. Zillow estimate, 7. The Boston Globe ran a follow-up on Sunday. Business section, above the fold. Photograph, Raymond entering his lawyer's office on Federal Street, face down, hand up to block the camera. The caption read, Raymond Alden, removed as CEO of Alden Properties last month, exits counsel after a 3-hour meeting. A reporter called my office. Her name was Janet Park. She had covered my Whelan brief the prior year. Faye, Janet. I have to ask, was this personal? I thought about it for a full 3 seconds. Janet, it was financial. It was always financial. They signed the documents. They didn't read them. My father's compliance desk did. But the slap was the end, not the reason. Ask Merit Capital's press office. They have a statement. She wrote it down. She called me one more time that year, in October, off the record, to tell me Raymond had settled with the SEC for a fine and a 10-year ban from sitting on any public company board. No jail, no trial, just a 10-year ceiling on a life that had been all ceiling. I said, thank you for telling me, Janet. I meant it. Vivian posted a 600-word Facebook essay on a Tuesday in late October. It used the word journey 4 times. It used the word growth 3 times. It used the word sorry 0 times. It tagged me. It said, in part, that she had always believed in me, that she had tried to make their family work, that she had been, in her own way, learning. It said learning like she had invented the concept. 300 comments within an hour. The comments were not kind. Nora, who had 800 Facebook friends, wrote a public post of her own an hour later. It read, "Some people learn when it costs them nothing. Some people learn when it saves them something. My friend Faye Merritt is neither of those. She watched. She was patient. She told the truth once and only once in a public room. Dignity doesn't need a comment section. Dignity doesn't need a hashtag. Dignity doesn't need anyone's redemption arc. I'm not tagging anyone. You know who you are." It got 4,000 shares. Vivian removed her own post by Thursday. I did not comment. I did not like Nora's post in public. I sent her a text. "Thank you." She sent back, "You didn't have to win. You just had to stop losing." I taped that text to my office wall. Printed. I kept it above my desk for a year. The next morning, I deleted my Facebook account. I kept the email Nora sent me about a 2-bedroom office space on Chandler Street in Worcester. I read it on Saturday. I drove up on Sunday. I signed the lease on Monday. My mother would have laughed. 6 months after the Four Seasons, I opened the Ellen Merritt Legal Aid Center on Chandler Street in Worcester. The building had been a tire shop in 1962. The landlord was the grandson of the man who had sold my father his first garage. He charged me $1 a year. He signed the lease with a fountain pen. We did pro bono family law, divorce, prenup review, restraining orders, wage garnishment defense. We took no clients with retainers. We ran on a grant funded by Merritt Holdings' charitable arm, on my own savings, and on volunteer hours from Nora and 2 other friends from law school. Our opening day was a Saturday in April. There was coffee from the diner next door. There were 40 folding chairs. There was my father in flannel standing by the door, pretending he had not cried twice in the car ride up. There was a photograph of my mother, aged 26, on the wall behind the desk. She was laughing. She was wearing a yellow raincoat. I gave a short speech. I did not prepare it. I read from my phone. My mother told me when I was 19 to let people underestimate me, because it was the cheapest advantage I would ever get. Today, with gratitude, I'm passing that savings on. Our first client walked through the door 12 minutes later, a woman from Shrewsbury. Her in-laws had taken her name off the deed of a house she had paid for. She was crying. She had her 3-year-old on her hip. I sat her down. I got her coffee. I said, "Tell me everything from the beginning. I have all day." I did have all day. I finally had all day. There is something I want to tell you. I waited a long time to say it. When I was 19, my mother was dying in a hospital room with a window that looked out on a parking lot. She held my hand and she said, "Faye, the people who need to make you small are never small themselves. They are terrified. Do not comfort that." She also said, "When you meet a man who looks down on your father, leave. Your father does not need defending. You need a man who knows what real work looks like." She gave me a sealed letter. She said, "Open this when you need it." I kept that letter in a drawer for 12 years. I opened it on the morning of the anniversary dinner. At 7:00 a.m., I drank my coffee. I broke the seal. It was 1 page. It said, "Faye, you will have waited too long. You always do. Your father and I have been ready since the day we met you. When you stop waiting, call him. He will come. Love him. He is the man I told you to find." I carried the letter in my clutch that night. I did not need to read it again. I want to tell you one thing. I want to tell it plainly. When someone loves you for who you might be useful to, that is not love. That is inventory. You do not have to prove your worth by hiding it. You prove it by refusing to let anyone price it. And if you have someone in your life, a father, a mother, a sister, a friend, who would walk into any room for you, do not wait 12 years to call. It is a Sunday in September, the second Sunday, the one with good light. My father is in the garage behind his house in Worcester. He has the hood up on a 1968 Mustang. The car belongs to a neighbor. He is not charging her. He never charges the neighbors. He charges bankers. I am handing him wrenches. I know the names. I have known them since I was 8. He says, 3/4. I hand him the 3/4. He says, "Kiddo, the paperwork's all clean." I say, "Dad, it's been clean for a year." He says, "I know." He closes the hood. He wipes his hands on the rag in his back pocket. The rag is older than I am. I think it might be older than Merritt Holdings. He looks at me. His eyes have my mother's shape. "Kiddo, yeah, that was never the paperwork I cared about." The sun comes through the garage door. It catches the grease stain on his thumb knuckle, the one from 1987. I lean against the Mustang. I close my eyes. If this story meant something to you, if you've ever been the quiet one at the table, the one people underestimated, please tap the like button. Subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Scroll down to the description. I've linked 2 more videos down there. One begins at a funeral, one begins at the reading of a will. Both end in the same kind of silence this one does. In the comments, tell me who the Arthur is in your life, the one who would walk into any room for you. I'll read everyone, I promise.